and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the...
Porte conducteur mal fermée.
How cool is that? Welcome back to Seaside Garage and the Renault 25 V6 Turbo. This is going to be a drive video. I'm going to show you guys how it drives. As I showed you in the beginning of this video, it said something that meant that the driver door was not closed proper. And as you can see, if I just open it a little bit.
Porte conducteur mal fermée.
It does that again. The first time I heard that message, I was a bit scared because I don't know French. So I didn't really know, other than conducteur sounded like conductor, the driver, something was wrong. After a bit of Google translating, I figured out that it was the driver door. By the way, if I open the passenger door,
Porte avant droite mal fermée.
it tells me that that door is not closed. So it got a voice message for each door. And also the bonnet doesn't really close proper unless you really give it a whack. It will still be locked in place, but that will also give an error. That was something about motor, which I expect is the engine, something about engine cover, but that also gave me a bit of a scare because motor is a motor or engine, which of course you don't want to hear something malformé about an engine in this one. So the system is pretty complicated. Someone even wrote a comment on the previous video that when he drove one back in the 80s, it told him that something was wrong with the electrical system and to stop right away. And when he stopped the car, the car told him to check the auxiliary or the fan belt if that was still attached, and if it was, then drive to a mechanic. I don't know if it's that advanced. It sounds almost too good to be true, but if it is, it's really advanced. It's really cool. Also, I've got a couple of comments telling me that I can change the voice box to English, but I don't care that it's French. I think it's fun. It's not the end of the world that I don't really understand the messages. When I get a message that I don't really know what means, I will investigate and find out. So it's not a big deal. I think it's actually a really fun gimmick to have a car that speaks to you about the status of the car and you cannot understand it. I think it's a fun thing. Yeah, I might be weird, but anyway. Oh, it just told me that I need to add window washer fluid. There's a light for that also. This car is really advanced for the 80s. That's pretty awesome. Do you see right over there? That just came on. That gotta be washer fluid level. But I'm really enjoying driving this car. I'm annoyed by the small things that are wrong with it that I need to fix, the idle thing, but the drive, it's so comfortable. And also I'm really surprised about the engine and the turbo. It's just getting up and going so nicely. Of course, I haven't driven a lot of fast cars in my life because I like to drive old cars and I like to drive old cheap cars because I can't afford old expensive cars. So anything that can get to 100 below 9 seconds is fast in my world. And this one is, I think, 7 or 8 seconds. It feels a lot faster though, but that's gotta be because of that turbo lag. But it's really nice to drive such a big luxury car and still having that get up and go, because I like to make a fast overtake from time to time, and also highway and motorway in this one. It's awesome. I really would like to try it out on the Autobahn just to stretch the legs a little bit, but on the other hand, I would be so scared of blowing it up. So this might not be a race car, but let's do a 0 to 80, which is the speed limit, just for fun. That's 80. And I'm no expert at launching, and I don't want to push a French V6 engine with a turbo from the 80s, but that is proper quickly in my world. And now this is a pretty big car and pretty wide car for the AT standards at least. But still, suspension and so on makes it, it handles really, really nice for such a big car. It's predictable and yeah, of course you could argue that it would be cool to be a rear-wheel drive car, but it doesn't really have enough power to need rear-wheel drive, and front-wheel drive has quite a few benefits for daily driving, and to be honest, because you won't get stuck that easy, it's more predictable and all that, and yeah, maybe if it had 250 horsepower you would need rear-wheel drive, but 180 it's fine for front-wheel drive. I have no issues with a lot of wheel spin, or torque steer is not bad either, so it feels just fine. As mentioned, I have some issues that I need to fix. I'm looking forward to trying to fix stuff on this because I like the diagnostic thing and trying to figure out the errors and so on, and especially on this one because I know talented mechanics has tried to fix it and they haven't been able to. Of course, maybe they would have been able to if they were permitted to use enough time. It's a bit easier when you don't have to pay for your hours, of course. But I'm looking forward to try to fix that. And the issue there is that the idle is very high unless the idle valve is clamped off. That could be because the valve itself is maybe stuck, but the previous owner did try to change it. It could also, and I'm more inclined to think that's the case, be some kind of signal missing to actually activate that idle valve. That could be because the engine doesn't know when it's at idle, when the throttle is closed. That could be the throttle switch or something like that. Because of that, the idle is a little bit unstable. When it's clamped off, it's okay, but it's not really where it's supposed to be. And if I remove that clamp, it will idle at 2000 RPM or thereabout, which is not nice either, of course. But I have another problem that I think is related to the idle thing, and that is when I'm coasting in gear. I'm just gonna see if I can try to do that. You can see it right there. It feels so wrong when it jumps about, and I'm pretty sure it's related to that idle valve. And then the service light is on. Something is wrong with the ABS system, probably a dirty sensor or a ring. I think I could get in trouble with parts for this car. I think some of the parts are hard to get. We'll have to see about that. But apart from those things, this car drives amazingly. It's really nice. I think I said it before, and of course it has happened before, but I think this is the best buy that I have ever done, looking at what I got and what I paid and so on. This is really an amazing amount of car for 20,000 kroners, that's for sure. Of course, I think it's a car that can be very expensive to fix because of parts availability and so on, and it got some issues that can be very expensive on the engine if it goes wrong. But I'm just gonna try to service it and be good to it and see what happens. I'm having a really luxury problem at the moment because I have a 123 station wagon Mercedes 300 turbo diesel and then this one, and although they are very different cars, and it's a bit hard to me to decide which one to take because they are very different and still very, very comfortable cars, both of them. The Benz is the best cruiser. This is the most fun, that's for sure. It got that sound when you let go of the gas after a boost run. It sounds awesome. It's really nice, but I don't think it picks up on the microphone. It's not very loud, and it's not supposed to be very loud. And you can see when you drive by someone who are interested in cars that they are just whoa when they hear that sound, because it's not really expected when you see the car from a distance that it's going to but maybe you can hear it. Probably not, but it's awesome. I don't think you can see it on the camera, but right now it's actually doing that idle problem I was talking about. It's just small, subtle movements in the car. It almost feels like misfires, which it could also be small misfires. So maybe it's not related to the idle valve, but that's just a feeling that I have that it could be. But it could very well also just be tiny misfires that just give that little shock in the car when you're coasting. While on that subject, when it's idling, there is actually a little bit of a misfire sound from time to time. So maybe that's actually the problem. That could very well be related to the ignition component, and especially the distributor cap, because they are known to go bad. And if you have watched my videos on the XM, which is pretty much the same engine, it's just a 3-liter, that cap made a huge difference. The car could actually not really start when it was hot because of the cap. When I changed it, it just started to work as it is supposed to. So maybe that would be a good thing to change also, at least if it doesn't help to fix the idle thing. Oh, and did I tell you about the seat adjustment? It is all electrical. Forward, backwards, the rest, the backrest, and I can even make the seat go up and down, just as a tribute to a certain YouTube channel out there. That's really cool. There's one blanked off bottom though, so this car's there's something that it doesn't have. Maybe it's air conditioning, or maybe it's a washer for the rear screen. It's actually surprised me a little bit that it got a wiper back there, but no washer. Looking at the rest of the car, that surprised me a little bit, because yeah, my W123 got washer on the rear screen, and it's quite a lot older than this. But yeah, I'm driving behind a Toyota Prius right now. Makes me feel a little bit bad, but honestly it's not bad on fuel. I'm getting, let me just check. Yeah, I'm checking on the onboard computer on my V6 Turbo to check for average fuel consumption. It's 10.9 for the last 10.9 liters for the last 100 kilometers. It's not perfect. It's 9 or 10 kilometers per liter, but I have had it all the way up to 12 kilometers on a liter. And I have made a lot of small test drives and used the turbo quite a lot lately, so this is probably the worst that it can be, and that's very decent for a car weighing 1.4 tons and having a turbo and a V6 engine. That's just fine. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys how this awesome tribute to the 80s is driving. It's awesome. I really would like to go on some kind of long road trip in this car. That could be quite fun. Maybe going to the Nürburgring or something like that. That could be pretty fun. On the other hand, I think I should be happy as long as this car is driving and not having any faults, because they are not known to be reliable. But currently it feels like a really well put together car, and I'm starting to trust it quite a lot. Anyway, remember, you can become a Patreon down below. There is a link that helps me out and makes it possible for me to make more videos. So do that if you're interested in that. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.